Ethan, can you make sure it's actually working?
Yeah, I can see the dashboard here.
Alright, sick.
Oh, no way, it's actually working.
Oh, that's sick.
That's
Crazy. Normally it doesn't do that.
Oh, that's sick.
Alright,
But why not ink?
so last weekend, a bunch of us here competed in the Midwest CCDC qualifier. Just for the love of the game, to be honest.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what that is, it's just a cyber defense competition. We're given like, what was it, 8 VMs, 4
Something
Linux,
like that, yeah.
4 Windows. Actually, we have the diagram somewhere. Normally, we're in the at-large region. Not quite sure why, but you know what? It's cool because this region is so easy. But so I won't really complain. But yeah, we drove to Minnesota to get into the Midwest region and just participate in the qualifier, which was pretty fun. It was in Alexandria. It was hosted at the Alexandria Technical Community College. It was pretty nice there. Yeah, when we first got there, we were staying at like a church camp or something like that, where the doors are just kind of like deadbolted. But it's not like a hotel where they have like desk service. So like we were locked out, so we had to call the red team from the bar, and they came in and broke us into our rooms, which was really funny. I won't lie. Yeah, and then Malachi, is there anything you wanted to go over on the slide?
On the left, that's kind of what the room. They put us in a room like a computer lab, and that's kind of what the room looked like. And basically, throughout the day, we have to keep up all of those services on the right. You got to keep them all green. You don't want them red, but if they get hacked, they turn red.
Usually.
Usually.
Last weekend was a exception to that rule, as I found out.
We were team 7.
Yeah.
Yep, we were
I'm glad
team
you
7.
chose a screenshot where all our services were. Thanks,
Yep.
man.
And then this was the environment. So we had our 4 Windows and our 4 Linux. This was a little bit strange. Normally they're a little bit more integrated, so it's not just Linux is over there doing who knows what and Windows is doing God knows what in the other corner. Normally they have to like somewhat talk to each other. This was an exception because there wasn't a single cross dependency on any of the different OSs, which is really abnormal. And kind of boring, to be honest. Yeah, and then we're behind 2 firewalls, just a Palo and Palo on the Linux, Cisco on the Windows. And then there was a router. Jake, was there anything else you'd like to add about the firewalls?
I mean, yeah, it was kind of funny how, like you mentioned, the 2 subnets didn't really talk to each other, so I just ended up blocking literally everything between
Yeah,
them.
normally that's not something I want to say you're supposed to do because it doesn't matter because they're not talking to each other. Normally they have to talk to each other, so it's at least somewhat interesting. But this
Yeah.
weekend was an exception, I guess. The other thing that was a little bit odd is because it was in person, there's a lot of like physical things happening. Like they walked into our room pretending to be like, so there's a black team which is just like the organizers, and
That's
so
on the next slide.
oh it is.
This one was for when we had to tackle them out of the room.
Oh yeah, there was this red teamer who would keep trying to come into our room, and then like Malachi had to like physically hold her out, stand in the doorframe and like tackle her out, which was a little bit strange. I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen that one before. And then they also pretended to be like taking pictures of every team, and then they came and plugged USB sticks into our computers, which didn't have anything bad, but if it had been bad, they could have leaked everything that was on our computers, and they took they took pictures of everything on our screen, so they had all of our passwords from that. So we had to roll them after that, which was kind of annoying. The good part is I managed to snag one of their USB drives, and we were able to reverse it, and we uploaded to VirusTotal just to mess with them, and then we also wrote them a note and slid it under their door that we found the domain that it was calling out to make sure that they actually like plugged it in. And so we sent it to them. Yeah, and then the results were there's 19 teams. We got 4th. If we hadn't been an exhibition team, we should have placed higher. But whatever, it is what it is. And now onto the Windows Registry. How many of you actually know what the Windows Registry is? In some level. Okay, all you need to think of it as is all Windows Registry is just a bunch of data stored in the same place. That's really all it is at the end of the day. So the registry defined by like Microsoft is central hierarchical database used in the Windows 98 plus, and that's where they basically just store everything that's in Windows. And then the structure, for those of you who don't know, is it's a hive with keys, with subkeys, with values in it. I don't want to get too in depth because we could have a whole class dedicated just how the registry structure is instead of just a 1 hour meeting. Basically all you know is there's the 5 main hives, which I'll go over in a second, and then they just have sub values in there that keep controlling everything. And it's self-populating, which means unless you manually want to change like a security config or something, the keys will appear as you need them. You don't need to add them. It just kind of works usually. Sometimes it doesn't, and that's why Microsoft has that's why Windows has a lot of problems. So 2 of the first keys are the system key and the software key. The system key is where it just contains all like the configuration settings. And then the software is where it contains all the software. Those two are pretty obvious. The SAM one is, so all user account information is stored in SAM. I forget exactly what it stands for, but in Windows, if you ever see SAM, just know that's user accounts. And then security is all the security policies, and the NT user DAT. This one stores all of the user-specific configs. Each user that has logged onto the machine will have a different NT user DAT. And then there's also like one other one that doesn't really matter. So because we're mostly looking at forensics, there are some important ones. This is just a short list of things that you usually want to look for when you're doing forensics on Windows through the registry. But this is a pretty good place to start. So Amcache, that tracks everything that's been executed for the most part. And it keeps like the MRU, which stands for most recently used. You'll see MRU a lot in the registry. And then we have Shimcache, which is, so Amcache is newer. It came out in Windows 8. Shimcache was the one that's been around since XP, so if you're working on older systems, you'll have to use Shimcache. On newer ones, you would prefer to use Amcache over Shimcache because Amcache will update as things are run. Shimcache really only updates when the system is shut down. So if you have a server that's running 24/7, has been rebooted like twice, you won't find a whole lot in the Shimcache. And then run MRU. So if you ever run a Windows program through run, which is like the WinR, or sometimes programs will also use run to run their programs. Anything that's run through that will appear in run MRU. And then user assist, that is anything that has a GUI. Anything that you run that has a GUI, with some exceptions, will appear in there. Anything that's through Java doesn't, because that's an EXE, not a built-in Windows GUI. You start getting into these weird technicalities of how Microsoft considers different programs, because some they consider EXEs that have a GUI, some they consider GUIs. It's kind of just like how nice they're feeling to play along with whatever the developer's making. Shellbags is a really cool one. That one shows the folders that exist and have been opened by users. And then the other thing that's nice with like Shellbags and Amcache, and I'm pretty sure Shimcache does this one as well, they show things that have been opened that even if you delete the file, they still show that they were opened. So there's no like deleting logs, there's no deleting the file to like pretend it didn't exist. Those registries will keep that file, will keep the information of that file either existed or was opened. And if you see something malicious, you can assume it was opened even if you only see that it exists and not that it was opened. And then the word wheel query, that tracks anything you put into the Explorer, which is if you just type like the Windows key, that's what that tracks. The registry doesn't look very nice by default. So I'm pretty sure the one on the left there is Amcache. Oh no, that's Shimcache on the left. I can't read that very well. It's binary and trying to decode it into hex. Not very nice. And the one on the right is user assist. No one knows what any of that means. Not even Microsoft. Do you want to guess? So those aren't the original values. Do you guys want to guess how they got those values? It's really stupid. So we have this string, B267E yada yada yada, who cares? So what they did is this is actually the route 13 of the original one, which why we're taking the route 13 of something, I don't know, because who knows what that one means either. Certainly not me. But that is Explorer. So that is, of course, O267R39Q. Of course that's Explorer. Why wouldn't it be? So it's really convoluted. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, which is fantastic. Luckily, there are tools out there that make it really easy. If you guys have a Windows laptop, most of the time I want to just have you guys like exploring the registry because it doesn't make sense until you start to learn it hands-on. If you guys have a Windows laptop or have a Windows VM you can access, you should go to Eric Zimmerman, just search up Eric Zimmerman tools, and then that will bring you to his GitHub website, and then that will allow you to download all of his tools. If you want to, oh god, there we go. If you want to download all of them, you can use, where is it? You can use this Git Zimmerman tools, and you can download that, and I'll give you a PowerShell script. Otherwise, the only ones we're really going to look at right now is, I believe, Amcache hold on, which ones did I even? This is horrible. I can't see for everything on that monitor. Give me 1 second. We're going to use the app compat cache and the registry explorer. So, where's my mouse? We're going to use this one and this one. You are also going to have to download the .NET 9 framework if you haven't downloaded that yet. It will prompt you to download it when you try to run it for the first time. Because all you're going to have to do is click download. Okay, actually, why is my screen so small?
That changes the scale of it.
Okay, that's still tiny. What do you mean it won't be assigned until I sign out? What? Okay. Oh, that's actually alright. That's not horrible. So we get this, then all you're going to do is, oh my goodness. There we go. Just go here and then just extract it. And the Registry Explorer one will be a GUI, and the app cache one is going to be command line. Then you just extract it and open it. And then for Shimcache, we will just go through basically and allow you guys to see what you basically have and show you how you can find things that you know you have run on your computer, because that'll be easier than trying to set up a custom lab. Does anyone know why it's a bad idea to let users save the registry?
For a Jolly Rancher.
I don't have Jolly Ranchers.
I consider just leaving them under the desk there so I don't have to load them from my room.
The answer to why you don't want users to save the registry is, have you guys ever heard of pass the hash account or pass the hash attacks? Basically, if you allow the user to save the SAM and security registry, you get all the user hashes, and Microsoft lets you log in with those sometimes. It's really cool. There's the in-packet framework, if any of you guys have ever heard about that. That will allow you to pass the hash to log in over SMB, usually. I think it's SMB,
Probably.
probably. That makes sense. But, yeah. If anyone wants any help with setting this up, I can help. Otherwise, if you want, I can go more in depth on the registry and show you some other things that are going on later. Which would you guys rather do?
Go in more depth.
Okay, go in more depth. Okay.
So true.
So let me. Where? Okay. Please load. Actually, hold on. I need to just. Alright, that's good. Alright, so the most common way you guys will probably interact with the registry is through regedit, which any of you guys can go type in right now. That you need to run as administrator because, again, the registry contains sensitive information that you want to only have access if you are the administrator. So we can just go over a quick basic where everything's stored. So the current user, HKCU, every key will be referred to HK and then the first letters of the words behind them. So HKCU is the current user. This will be your NT user dat for, on this one I'm logged in as well, so this will be will.ntuser.dat. And then we have just HK users, which if we open this, one of these is HK, or one of these is will.ntuser.dat, and one of these is admin.ntuser.dat. I don't remember which one is which because they store it like that with the long names. And then if we go into local machine, we have, give me 1 second. This is where system, software, security, and SAM are stored on the local machine. And all their subfolders are where you access anything from these hives. Now, for those of you that have the Registry Explorer installed, we can just, that is the easiest way to get through the registry because it is quite convoluted. Whenever you're doing anything with these, make sure you run them as administrator. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so on Registry Explorer, we can either load hives if we want to save them doing reg. We can do the reg slash, actually we keep doing that one because that was not admin shell. We can do the reg save, actually I just have it somewhere right here. The HKLM system, and we can put it into whatever file we want. So we could do HKLM software, actually we'll just do SAM, and we can put it into sam.hive, and then we can go just back to our Registry Explorer, and we can load the SAM account, and we can explore it through here. Oh, why did it do that? Oh god.
Wait, that's all.
Why is it? What the? No, okay.
Don't think your RDP client is properly sending across API.
I don't think it is either. And that is concerning.
That's fine.
we're just gonna reopen that and hope that fixes it because I'm not entirely sure why that happened.
It's only natural. It only
Windows
makes
is
sense
broken. I'm convinced. We'll just leave it like this. But anyways, we can load the hive like that, or if we want, we can do live system, and we can see all of our hives right here. So here you can see the SAM security software system, and we can also see the user nt-user.dat and the user.class. The user.class and the amcache aren't real registry hives. They're files that exist that store that have the hive extension. Windows is Windows. But we can load any of these that we want. So for example, we could load this the main account on this one, then wheel.user.dat. And then why does it keep changing size? Whatever. Then we can search for other things in here. So I don't think there's anything on this one, but we can search for our run MRU. Oh, there is. So you can see cmd.exe was executed on today at 17:23:37, but you could also see if it was like basically like Mimikatz or something was run through here as well. And that's just one spot you can look. The other one that's fun is if we load the amcache. We just go through here. Why? Permission checked. Okay. I don't know why that's not working. I should have full permissions, but whatever. We come back here. If we go to, shoot, it's on the slide somewhere. I forget which. The registry is, don't remember it, just look up where you want to go. It's really, really annoying inventory cache. Inventory application file. Yeah, why? That should not be failing. Not quite sure why it is. That's odd. But we can also go through and see that, like, if we go to the NT user, we can also see if we search for run MRU again. I actually don't think run MRU is going to appear because this account has done nothing. So, like, run MRU doesn't exist because the registry is self-populating. And there's a whole list of these that we can go back and look for. There's a really cool website called Cyber Triage that basically contains all of these and will tell you where and how things are stored. So we can see here, like in nt-user.dat, we can see user assist, open save MRU, last visited MRU, word wheel query, and shell bags. So if we go back here and we want to see, we can do the user assist. If you go back here, yeah, I don't know. This is actually annoying me. That's so small. We can do user assist, and nothing is in here because maybe some stuff's in here. Some of these smaller ones are in here of the MMC. You can see was last run on 2/2/5/03/34, and a lot of these are places that you just want to go and see if you have execution. You probably won't find anything malicious in user assist because most things aren't going to have a GUI. Yes.
What was the first one you opened?
The nt-user.dat or.
Yeah, the first one I didn't.
Yeah. If you type up here, if you type user assist, it'll bring you to the bottom path.
I didn't. load the live system yet.
If you go to live system users, do your whatever your username is, ntuser.dat,
Okay.
and then that's like the main one, and you should be able to see like any programs you've installed and run on here. You should be able to find, and if you want to search through here, we can search for what's a good one, Explorer. We can search for Explorer. And it'll pull up only the Explorer instances. So if you've installed like Discord or anything, you should be able to find Discord on there. Like, or if you've installed Stellarium for the fantastic astronomy. Is it astronomy?
Yeah.
Okay, astrology is the made up one, right? Okay. For our fantastic astronomy class that I swear everyone takes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really easy science credit, so everyone takes it. I'm not taking biology. But alright. But yep, and then we can go Shellbag is another really cool one. That's in musiclass.dat. Shellbag is hard to read. Annoyingly so. We go here. Oh, I hate that this is so small. This one's not too bad actually. How do I? How can I zoom in?
Windows magnifier.
Yeah, I don't remember the key button for that.
I think you can just search it. Yeah, there you go. Magic. That's
Oh, God.
amazing.
We're going to. No, we don't need that. Honestly, that's probably what this is going to get. Oh God, this is horrible. But anyways, we can see that we can see what was. We can see files, or we can see folders and files. We can't see if they're executed, but again, if you see something like Mimikatz on your machine, or if you see malware of any kind, it's really safe to assume that someone ran it, and that you are probably pwned. Trying to think of some of the other cool ones on there that some of the other cool ones. You can see scheduled tasks through here. This is where a lot of persistence will be on, and that's in the software. So this is horrible. Oh my goodness. We can load our live system again.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to go play around in these, because the Windows Registry, even Microsoft doesn't fully know how it works anymore, which is great. A lot of the, like Eric Zimmerman, I think his name is, understands the Windows Registry better than Microsoft, because Microsoft doesn't have an incentive to go back and fix it. And they're on their like third generation of engineers working on it. And they don't understand what any of the other ones did. So, which one am I doing scheduled tasks? This is great. Oh. I'm gonna close you. Or actually, we want you.
I mean, in the path, it includes the keyword task cache, so I was able to find it through that.
Okay. Yep. And like, there's none on here, but scheduled tasks are one like the more common places. And the other thing that's weird about the registry, so everything we do through the Microsoft GUIs, like scheduled task and creating services and all that, that always if you create in the GUI, it always appears in the registry, but if you create in the registry, that doesn't mean it appears in the GUI, which is fantastic. And there's also like, I don't remember them off the top of my head. I think I know they're called, it's like run and run once. And I think it's an NT user dat. But if you ever place a key in run, this is also a startup task, but this is for the local user. If you ever place anything in run, as soon as that user logs on, that means that task is running. So that's a really easy way to have persistence on malware. And then the other one is run once. Is another really easy spot to hide stuff if it wants to go. And then that is also an empty user dat. And then here's another one. In the amcache, you can see every time run once is opened, it should be every time it starts run once.exe is run. Every time we restart the machine. Oh god. And I'm not going to pretend to be a full expert on the registry because it is super convoluted, and to be honest, unless you're doing it as a daily task, it's really just easier to Google everything that you need and check it as you want, while having a decent idea of like what shellbags is, and that's like where you can see all the folders, what amcache is, that's where you can see all the files executed. Having a good idea of where to start looking with Google is going to do you a lot more than memorizing all this, because the Windows registry is so convoluted and so annoyingly
Annoying.
I don't even want to say encrypted, but like, why are we rot 13ing our keys? There's no need, especially when they're arbitrary values anyways that mean nothing to nobody. There's not much of a reason. And like there are other Windows tools out there for exploring the registry. Registry is really popular. I don't have that one installed, but Registry allows you to basically. Okay, where's my magnifying glass? I need to turn this off. Registry allows you to parse whenever you save or back up your registry, it allows you to rip through it and find values, especially that one's really popular in Linux. So you'd like export your registry.
It might be a lost cause.
I might be able to find it.
Probably be easier if you full screened the RDP window.
Oh god.
There you go.
Okay. So if we go in and save, like we already have SAM, we do security. I spelled that wrong, didn't I? Or Just want that works. Okay. We can do that, and then I don't have Registry installed, but we can install it real quick. I think this has a Windows install. Not entirely sure. Oh, there's an exe and a .bat, so surely there is. Okay. Actually, I might need an admin, but that should be okay. Is it reg.exe? Or is rip.exe? See, we're going to need to find the rr.exe. Okay, we're just going to search up. I really should look this up before, but I did not think I was going to go through the material as quick as I did. Alright. This is looking too complicated for right now. But basically you can go through, and if you back up your registry using the reg save, the registry that you want to save, and then your output file, if you save those, you can upload those to RegRipper, run RegRipper against it, and then you can extract whatever values you want from there. And that's also a really good way of doing forensics work, looking in the same places. The other thing to keep in mind with the registry is things don't always go where you expect them to. For example, the user assist, which should be storing everything with a GUI, doesn't store Java GUIs. It counts those as EXEs in code, not a GUI. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm assuming it's because they're not calling any of the Windows components, and Microsoft's kind of annoying, where if you don't play their way, they don't really care about what you're doing. Yeah, so it's a little convoluted, but that's really all I have. So if anyone has any questions, or I'll stay around, and if people want to work on some things, I can help. But if you want to learn more about it, you basically just have to play around with it, because there are not very many good sources online other than Cyber Triage and some of the tooling they recommend, as well as Eric Zimmerman's tool and RegRipper, because people don't like touching the registry, it turns out, because it's really annoying. That's it.